Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video. As you guys know, Blade Show 2019 was a huge success, uh, but they definitely laid a bombshell on everybody on Blade Show 2019 by announcing that this knife you see in front of you is now discontinued. I'm talking, of course, about the most iconic knife in the knife world, the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21. Now, when I first heard this, I heard it from one of the guys that actually subscribed to my channel. His name is Toxie City Assured, and I want to thank him for subscribing to my channel, and all of you guys that subscribe to my channel. It only helps me to continue to do what I love to do even more. So let's get into this discussion. So they laid the bombshell and said that the most iconic knife in the knife world, the Sebenza 21, was now discontinued, and that they were working on an upgraded version of this knife called the Sebenza 31. Now, in normal cases, it probably wouldn't really matter all that much, but because we're talking about Chris Reeve, it becomes a completely different story. And the reason why I say that is because if you are a knife collector like myself, you go through levels of collecting, right? You start out with the cheaper, as you start learning about knives, you start out with the cheaper knives, the Kershaws and the CRKTs, which are really, really great, fantastic knives, right? But what happens is you begin to collect those, you start to learn a little bit more about knives and educate yourself on knives and what makes a good knife, and what doesn't make a good knife. You start to learn all these things. So you're learning about the spring-assisted blades. You're learning about the manual folders and the ball bearings and the action, all as you go through the different levels of collecting knives. But after a while, you reach a certain level where you don't really know everything about your hobby, but you know enough that you begin to feel like it's time to step up. And what I mean by time to step up, I mean you're looking for something new. In other words, you're ready for your diploma. You're ready for your graduation into the next level of knife collecting or whatever it is you might be into. You're looking for that next level. In my opinion, and again, everything I say on my channel is my opinion, the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21 was basically your high school diploma, right? You go through your CRKTs and your Kershaws and your lower level knives, and then you get to your zero tolerance, and then you get to your Spydercos, and then you get to your Benchmates, and you start to get up. Once you get to the level of knife collecting that everybody's familiar with, where you are learning about what makes an awesome, solid cutting tool. At the end of all that, you feel like you're ready for something new. And then when you begin to get into higher end knives, you come across this guy. And you begin to learn that not all knives are exactly the same. Now, the reason why I say that is because Chris Reeve has now become the standard. But he really isn't the standard, is he? Because we don't even know what this guy is. We don't know, is he a production knife maker? Is he a mid-tech? Is he custom? My own opinion, he's all of these things. Chris Reeve, I mean, if you were to take your Spyderco and your Kershaws and all the other production knives, they would be all in a group together. I'm not saying that they're not great, but they would definitely be seen all in a group together. Chris Reeve, he's all the way on the other end of the spectrum, and he's all alone by himself. Why? The man does things the way he wants to do them. So for that, he gets rewarded with the concept of He will make knives the way he wants to make them. And in a sense, we either take it or leave it. But his knives have become such a staple in the knife world that once you take him as he is. You don't complain. You don't get your, you don't make little sort of comments about the way he makes his knives, because the man is basically a success story. He has been making knives since 1978. So basically, the guy's been making knives since I was 11 years old, okay? For a lot of you guys, you probably weren't even born when the guy started making knives. So basically, Chris Reeve has now become the standard. Why? He is basically your first foray into stepping up into getting into more and better knives. Maybe you'll even begin to get into customs. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll become a knife maker. Who knows what? But somewhere along the way in your knife collecting, you're going to come across this guy, and you're going to begin to feel and figure out that, yes, Chris Reeve really is very different than everybody else. In many ways, his knives have a certain look. He never changes anything he does. Excuse me. And when he does make the change, no matter what change it is, you just accept it because he's Chris Reeve. And it makes sense. So, but the reason why I'm going on and on about this is because the knife that allowed him to be that way is this knife right here, the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21. And he has now decided to no longer make this knife and make what's called Sebenza 31. And it's not really so much different than the knife that's in front of you. I mean, basically, what he did to the knife, the changes were quite minimal. Basically, they were mostly in the aesthetics. He, instead of having one or two inlays, he's got a completely different inlay design, one solid inlay design, in fact. The other change he did to his knives is that the pocket clip on the Sebenza 21, as you can see, is not angled. In other words, it's actually just right on the lock bar, whereas on the Sebenza 31, I'm going to go ahead and show you right here. On the Sebenza 31, it's like it is here on my Inkosi, where the pocket clip actually is angled to sort of double as a lock bar stabilizer to prevent you from having the knife pushing the lock bar all the way out. But I've talked about this on my on my video on Chris Reeve knives. I said that I was a little bit ridiculous because the titanium is so thick. There's really no way for you to push it out any further, so it probably would have been just fine if he had left the pocket clip the way it is, but whatever. This is what Chris Reeve wanted to do, so that's what he did. The third thing that he did to his knife was he added a ceramic lock bar interface like it is on the Numzon, which unfortunately I don't have mine right now. Mine's actually being re-anodized again with my friend Troy. He's actually going to be working on that. I hope he'll get back to me with that one. But in any sense, I don't know why it bothers me, because apparently the knife really doesn't change much. Mostly it's all just aesthetics, but I started to think about why does it bother me. And I began to think about a time back when I was a teenager, 17, 18 years old, many, many, many years ago. I'm 51 now. They did a thing to another iconic product, just like the Chris Reeve knife, Coca-Cola. Okay, now back in the 80s, the Coca-Cola company decided to abandon the original flavor of Coca-Cola, which had been the original Coca-Cola for at least 100 years at that time, and they decided to change it over to something called New Coke. And I remember watching a commercial on TV, and it was on the news, and everybody was all up in arms about it, and they just basically took the Coke and dumped it onto the street. This New Coke sucks. And it just kind of got me thinking, this is sort of the same thing, isn't it? Where we're, at least in a small way, because those of us that are into knives and collect knives, the change is very minimal on the Sebenza 31, right? But yet some part of you kind of bothers you because it's, while the knife is not completely changed all that much, it's just what the Sebenza 21 represents. Just like Coca-Cola, what Coca-Cola represented way back in the day. It was it was the soda of all sodas, just like the Chris Reeve knife, the most iconic knife in knife collecting, is the knife of all knives in a sense, right? It's, again, like I said, it's basically your high school diploma or your college degree or whatever you want to call it in this hobby of knife collecting. Because once you step up to something like this, then you're going to start going into maybe higher end knives, possibly customs. Maybe you'll become a knife maker. So now that this knife is gone, there's like, even, are we going to start looking at the Sebenza 31 as the knife that we all have to have in our collection that says that, okay, I've graduated, now I'm into customs, now I've decided to start making my own knives. Now, so basically Chris Reeve is sort of the gateway into the next door of your knife collecting. So I think that's probably why it bothers me so much. Because to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure the Sebenza 31 is going to be just as awesome as the knife you see here. I don't think it's going to be anything, a disaster by any means, but it just kind of raises a question. Did we make a little bit too much out of this knife right here? How do I answer that? Because I love my Sebenza 21s, okay? Both my large and my small, and they are very, very expensive knives. But since I've gotten these knives, I hard use them. I make sure I wipe them down every time I hard use them, but I use them, I wipe them down, I enjoy them. I mean, this is, out of all the knives that I own, and I own some very, very expensive customs. If I know I'm going to be out, and I'm going to be using a knife, the Chris Reeve knife is the first knife that I go for because it's just the knife that I want to have in my pocket. I've always felt that way since I got it. I mean, it was just like, yeah, I'm into custom knives now that cost ridiculous amounts of money, and while I do carry these in my pocket and I do use them, and I enjoy them for what they are, they don't make me feel like my Chris Reeve Sebenzas do. Like, this is the knife that I can actually carry in my pocket. It feels like a custom. It looks like a custom. But I can use it like a regular knife and not have to worry about, oh my God, it's scratched up. Oh my God, it's all, dinged up or whatever the deal is. Because I know that once I do something to this knife, as long as I did not change the original configuration, right? In other words, I didn't get it anodized, I didn't get it redone or anything. Like, for example, my Sebenza 25, which is a collectible, this piece I got anodized, right? So now I can't take this knife to Chris Reeve and say, hey, there's something wrong with it. Could you do me a favor and can you just, work on that lock bar for me because I kind of ruined it. I mean, there's nothing, I can't do that anymore, okay? But as long as my knives stay the original configuration when I bought them, I can always get what's called the spa treatment, which is basically where you take the knife in for servicing, and when you get it back, right, it's practically brand spanking new. And that's basically what Chris Reeve represents, of all the things that Chris Reeve represents, he really represents quality. The man, even to this day, now he may not oversee all the productions of every knife that ever comes out of his factory these days, but you can almost guarantee the man certainly tries to, doesn't he? And of course, probably his son will now take over the company as he gets older, and who knows? But if most of us who know Chris Reeve, probably it's not going to happen probably not until the man drops dead, I don't think. He has that much pride in what he does. So I think the fact that the Sebenza 31 is now going to be the knife to replace Sebenza 21, I mean, that kind of, I think that kind of puts a little bit of a dent in our it's kind of like the whole world went out of whack all of a sudden, and really nothing happened. All he did was he just upgraded the knife and called it, made minute changes to the Sebenza 21 knife, the knife that we love so much. He basically made a few minor changes to it and changed the name, but it's still basically the same knife. But, when I heard that, I heard it from a guy who subscribed to my channel. His name is Toxicity Assured, and I want to say thank you very much for actually giving me that information. Actually, I don't know if I want to thank him, because I'm actually in a lot. I was actually in a lot of pain when he told me. Actually, when he told me, I didn't even believe him. I thought, okay, this kid doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. What does he mean the Sebenza 21 is going to be discontinued? There's no such thing. It can't happen. And then I went to the website, and I saw there was no Sebenza 21 there. They actually had a completely different looking knife that said Sebenza 31 on it. My jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that knife is not around anymore. It's ridiculous. But, I kind of calmed down once I found out what the changes were. When I saw the video on YouTube at Blade Show 2019, I was like, okay. Everything's okay. We're just going a little bit out of whack. But it did make me at least think about, where we are with knives and how serious we take our hobby and how much we love what we do in this hobby. And we don't really want certain things to change. And I think one of the things that we didn't want to change was this Sebenza 21. So, yeah, again, I want to thank Toxicity Assured. And he actually, when he left me a notification on my YouTube channel, he was telling me that he was going to go out and buy a bunch of Sebenza 21s, which also begs another question. How much higher in price? Because of this discussion that I just had with you guys just now, making this video, the points that I just made, how high is the price of the Sebenza 21 going to be now on eBay, on Blade Forums, and so much and so forth? Do you guys really believe it's going to get up into the thousands? Can you imagine paying like $1,000 for this knife? We pay already about a little over $500 for ours, depending on whether or not you get an inlay on there. And of course, yeah, the Sebenza 31, they changed the price on it. I believe it's now like $75 more, if I'm not mistaken, for the Sebenza 31. So, and believe it or not, even though there's minimal changes done to the knife, I think that Chris Reeve is the only one that could get away with that, because he's Chris Reeve. He does things the way he wants to. And again, you either accept it or you don't accept it. The knife world is a really, really crazy world. And if something builds a reputation and people actually use the knife and experience what everyone's experience is exactly the same, that positive, then, excuse me, we don't want that world to change. We want it to stay the way it is. And, but if you were to ask me, do I think the price of this knife is going to go up? I'm going to say, yeah. I don't know if we'll see Sebenza 21 selling on eBay for $1,000, but you can bet for the next few years, the Sebenza 21, yes, it's going to go up in price because it is so iconic in the knife world. It is just such an important purchase in a knife collector's arsenal that it's absolutely necessary to think about. So, those are my thoughts on that whole Sebenza 31 replacing the Sebenza 21. I'm kind of hoping on this video I will get some comments on that. What do you guys think? You think it's no big deal? You think, oh my God, what a big deal? And how about this? Think about this, guys. There are people that are just now getting to that point where they're going to want to buy a Chris Reeve knife, and now they can't buy a 21 anymore, right? That's kind of sad, isn't it? It really is, because we, in the knife world that already own the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21, we keep talking about this knife over and over and over again. Oh my God, you got to get a Chris Reeve Sebenza 21. It's a must-have. You got to have it. You're not a knife collector unless you have a Sebenza 21 in your collection, and so on and so forth. And, just through the natural progression of this hobby. This is exactly how it's supposed to be. And now Chris Reeve, in sort of his way, he's taken that away from all of us, or at least for some of those that are now. Because somewhere out there right now, there's a guy that's saying to himself, "Okay, I bought my last Spyderco, man. I put off, buying a Chris Reeve knife. Now I'm ready to buy a Chris Reeve Sebenza 21. Oh my God, there isn't one anymore." So kind of think about that for a little bit, before, while you make your comment. So what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that it's because of us that we praise this knife so highly? I want to hear what you guys think. Because all of us knife collectors, we basically created this, the way that we collect. This is the way that it just basically it is. And ironically, a lot of us don't even talk to each other about it, right? Our knife collecting is very personal. It's very, very kind of a quiet. For a lot of us, it's kind of done, somewhere in the background. Like myself, if I didn't have this YouTube channel, guys, I wouldn't have anybody to talk about my hobby to. I don't have any friends nearby. It's not that I have a next door neighbor that I can talk shop with if I want to find out what's a good knife or find out about his collection and what he is and what he likes. I don't have that. All I have is you guys and this channel, and I'm very grateful for it. Because to tell you the truth, I carry a piece every day when I go to work. I work in an office setting, and nobody cares that I've got a one-of-kind, handmade Erucus Bloomerus piece in my pocket, and I mean, it's kind of frustrating, so, with the hobby. And so now, knowing that this knife no longer exists, I don't know if that takes something off the plate for all of us, or if that's something that we just can't believe, or maybe I don't know. I don't know what you guys are feeling. I really do hope I get some comments on this, and I keep laughing because it's absolutely hilarious. At the same time, it's kind of sad because, I love my Sebenza 21s. I'm happy to own the Chris Reeve knives that I own. I also, own the Chris Reeve and Cosi pieces. I've got my small in Cosi right here, and I also have my large in Cosi. I've got an Noomzon. Actually, let me get the box out of the way for a second. If you're asking me, oh my God, Omar's just trying to show off. Yeah, you're right. I am trying to show off because I love these knives. I'm sure all you guys out there love yours. I mean, these are just absolutely fantastic pieces. I hate to see them, go away. These are the only knives that I can have use hard use, and not worry. Well, actually, this one, the one that I had anodized in sort of gold and blue, that one's a collectible. I'm probably never going to use that knife. I'll take it out, flip it every once in a while, and show people. I just love that piece. It's it's a collectible, so I'm not gonna, I'm not sorry that I had it anodized. I wanted to get it anodized, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And I also own a Noomzon, which is actually coming back from my friend Troy. He's actually working on it. Hopefully I'll get it back real soon. But yeah, I mean, Chris Reeve. He's the standard by which all of us communicate. Bring that down a little bit. I don't want it too far away from the camera. Communicate quality in a piece. And if you are looking to get a high-end piece, I definitely recommend it be a Chris Reeve knife. Why? You can use it very hard and not have to worry about scratching it or dinging it or anything. That's basically what you pay, why you pay the price that you pay for his knives. You pay for the quality, you pay for the service. Simple as that. And Chris Reeve, I don't know if you've ever had the spot treatment done, or maybe had anything done to your knife, that you've done to your Chris Reeve knife, but their quality is top notch. I mean, I love getting my knife sent down there to have it, have something done to it, cleaned up or whatever. I haven't had it done to any of these here yet, but it's getting to that point where I'm going to. I did, however, one time take the washers in this knife and polish them down and totally screwed up the action on it. And they just took it and said, yeah, bring it on back and we'll replace your washer, we'll fix it, we'll get it back to the excellent working condition. And that's exactly what they did. And that's why we love Chris Reeve, because he really does care that much about the quality. He wants you to know that what you got in your pocket is possibly the finest cutting tool out there. And you definitely feel that way when you put it in your pocket. So this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy. I am signing off, saying goodbye to the Sebenza 21, and hopefully we'll say hello to the Sebenza 31. Maybe we'll all welcome that knife as the new knife that is as the new diploma for the newer generation of knifeys out there. So, this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off, hoping you'll find one of these beautiful pieces of sharp art in your collection. Please comment below on this video. I really want to hear what you guys think. Do you think it's too much? You think we're making too much out of the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21? I want to know. I want to hear it. And of course, if you want to check out my review on all these knives, you can check it out on my channel. Again, this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy signing off. You guys have a good evening, and God bless you all.